Hello, hello. Good afternoon, everybody. I believe I'm live. Can you guys see me? Hello, hello. My OBS is saying I'm live. Can you guys see me? Oh, can you hear me? I guess so too. Hello, hello. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the third live stream for the community challenges. So, how's the music? Too loud, too soft? Needs it a little bit more? It's normal. Okay, sounds good. Sounds good. Good to see you all here. I've updated the stream a little bit, made it a little bit better. As you can see, we now have chat. Yeah, there we have it. It's chat. Gonna put it up here actually. And we also have notifications. So if you aren't a subscriber or a member of the channel, or you might want to consider donating a super chat, if you do so, we now have notifications, and I believe I can show you by just doing a test notification. I mean, there you go, right? So we have notifications for the live stream. Yeah, slowly but surely this thing is becoming professional. So if you subscribe now, again, everybody can see fancy live stream notifications. All right, so well, I guess most of you know what's going on, but for all the people who might have tuned in and have no idea what's going on, this live stream is for one of the community challenges over on my Discord server. It's called the Kaizen Blender Dojo. You can join it with the link in this live stream description. And over there, I'm hosting monthly, hopefully monthly, community challenges with all of you. And people can just participate. The goal here is to learn and to have fun, but at the same time, for these last two challenges, we've also have some prizes. So we now have amazing prizes for the first three contestants who have the highest placement in this challenge. Yeah, so that's it. I'll be doing these every month, hopefully. Once a month there's a challenge, once a month there's a live stream. That's basically the whole idea. Let me find this document that I made with all of the submissions for this challenge. Where did I save it? Typical, right? There it is. All right, so just gonna move this thing over here. You didn't finish. That's okay. I mean, again, it's not like my goal here for these challenges is not to create pressure for you guys. It's basically just to create some sort of way for you to participate in something where you can learn, where you can get feedback from a professional like me, for example, and maybe in the future I'll add in some other creators and artists as well who can give their 2 cents. But yeah, basically my goal is for you guys to learn and to grow, all the while having a bit of fun and maybe, you know, having some prizes to share with you guys. So if you couldn't finish, if you couldn't make it this time, you know, that's fine. Hop in for the next one. Do submit your work into ArtShare. Don't post it on the submission page for the challenge anymore because that's closed now, but you can submit it in ArtShare and still get some feedback or input from others on the Discord server. So I'm gonna go hop over here and just gonna make this chat box thing a little bit smaller. Something like that should work. All right, so no, I'm not doing the submissions in order. I just added them into this document in random, so you're gonna see it all mixed up through each other, but that's better, right? So I created this document to go over all the submissions. Obviously, we're here for the Blender Dojo Community Challenge for January. The theme for this one is Salvaged Space, and this sort of blend file that we had for you guys was made by one of my mods, Bayek, or I'm actually not sure how you pronounce your name, Bayek. Am I saying it right? Let me know in the chat. Anyways, so we had this base file for this project, and essentially the goal was for you all to have something to work with. So we had one uniform factor, and we wanted you guys to take this and use mainly materials, lighting, compositing, and stuff like that. Basically, a lot of things besides modeling, to create this scene. And I think it went really well. It was really fun for me to see that there was such a difference in between all of the submissions. A lot of people went different directions. There's difference in color, there's difference in theme, and I think overall everybody interpreted this in a different way, which to me was really fun to see, and hope you guys will see the same. So as before, we have some prizes to give away. So we're gonna decide in this stream, I'm going to decide essentially, which is the number 1, number 2, and number 3, and we have some prizes to distribute. Third place in this case is getting Underwater Caustics, it's just an add-on, and $100 in render credits, pretty cool. Second place is getting the Shaders Plus bundle, $200 in render credits, and an amazing runner-up role, which is just a vanity role, which you can use on the Discord server just to showcase that you're somewhat of a winner. And first place obviously is getting one high-quality 3D model made by Albin, one of the sponsors of this challenge, and it's a really cool model of an astronaut, very high quality. Well done by him. And they're also getting the Shaders Plus bundle, Underwater Caustics, $300 in render credits, and the winner role on Discord. So again, Underwater Caustics and Shaders Plus, all thanks to Smouse. So thank you to him for offering up these prices, and thank you to Fox Render Farm for offering up over $600 of render credits. So that's really amazing. Adil, how long did you take to learn Blender? Well, I think I've been using Blender for a little over 5 years now, but originally I took about a year, maybe 2, to learn the essentials of Blender. And nowadays, I don't blend that much anymore, actually. I'm so busy with the whole content creation thing that I'm mainly editing and recording and writing scripts that, I don't have that much time to use Blender anymore. And in my free time, I try to stay away a little bit from Blender because I'm sort of surrounded by Blender all the time nowadays. And there's other things I care about, like playing video games, my wife, etc. So what age did I start? I started at age, I think, 26-ish. But I sort of left it pretty early on, and I quit for like a year or 2, and then I came back later. So I should also participate in the challenge. Well, maybe I should, yeah. It's kind of unfair if I win though, right? So if I participate, I can't win. But yeah, like video games, then wife. Yeah, that's the order. That's the order. Nah, I mean, yeah, video games are good. I love video games. Anyways, so these are the prizes we're giving away today. And we're gonna dive into the first submission actually. So like I said, now 35 submissions in total, all in mixed order. What game? Well, I love Elden Ring. I love a game called Satisfactory, which is kind of a weird game, but I kind of like it. I really like Risk of Rain, which is sort of like a Diablo style game. But mainly these days I'm playing World of Warcraft in the classic version. So yeah, back to my roots. As a youngster, I used to play World of Warcraft as well. Yo, Prince Eagle, good to see you here. All right, so we're gonna go into this first submission by Russ, or Rated Ranch, and they called it Free Dive. Now, I think this is a really, really cool piece. So, I don't know what you guys think of it. Let me know in the chat what you guys think of this piece, but I really like how this tells a story, right? Because if you've seen my, not latest video, but the one before that, it's about lighting and stuff. Light really draws our attention, just the way our minds work. So initially what you do is you look at this very bright light, the image. And then after that, you start looking at the rest of the image and like, okay, so what's going on actually? And you can see that the light is attached to something, doesn't really show that clearly what's going on. And then like the second brightest parts of this image are the character swimming. And like Moki is just saying, the fish in the back is very unnoticeable, but it's also noticeable. Yo, Fire Specs, thank you for becoming a dojo member. Appreciate it. Anyways, so the fish in the back that's there, it's just very unnoticeable until you start looking, right? So you have to sort of look at this image, take some time, and then it sort of grows on you. Now, I really like the character. It looks great. Not because it's an attractive lady, but overall, it's just a great looking character. The hair looks good. I like the fact that they added these small details like the hair sort of floating, right? Because hair tends to do that in water. So yeah, a very nice submission. Not a whole lot I would change for me. Maybe one thing that actually goes for a lot of the submissions is most of you use these windows here and they actually turn them into windows. But I feel like this image could benefit from not having the light here. However, that might have changed the lighting on the fish. So maybe this could have been closed, maybe not. It's a bit optional. Have fun at school, Banana Shack. All right, so we're gonna go on to the next one. This is called A Pirate Abduction, and it was made by Webo30. I believe Webo's in the chat. Pretty cool one again. Let me know what you guys think. I really like the lighting in this one, although the colors are a bit extreme on the green and red side, but the lighting is nice, right? So we have nice accentuation here on the pirate. We have the aliens, this pretty cool lit up ship, the alien playing with the hat here, which is really funny to me. The big scary alien in the back, another major theme for a lot of you guys. And as you can see, Webo decided to not use these as windows, but actually use them as displays for whatever kind of UI, which is a great choice in my opinion, because there's no need for there to be windows at all. So yeah, we have nice foreground elements, we have background elements, we have midground. So there's a nice separation in, I believe so. I'm not 100% sure how all of that works, fire specs, but I believe you can. Apparently, I can also gift 10 subs as well to members, but I have no idea how to do that. So I'm gonna look into that, and apparently I can give 10 members free per month or something. So I'm gonna do that. Give 10 of you a membership as well. I just have to look into how that's done. Anyways, yeah. So Webo, I think you did a great job here overall. I like the texturing. My main feedback for this one would be that the colors feel a little bit oversaturated, so maybe it could have been better if you just dialed down the saturation a little bit, and made it, just somewhat less saturated. I feel like it would benefit a little bit, but I do like the use of green because it sort of expresses the alienness, and the red is also pretty cool as a contrast or complementing color for that. All right, so next one, The Bubble Dancer by Asiraf or Asiraf, I don't know. Anyways, The Bubble Dancer, yeah. So another pretty cool submission. What I really like here is the use of the water line. So basically, this ship or whatever spaceship, whatever this thing is, has been submerged. And the use of this sort of water, which is probably just the plane with displacement and some noise going on, kind of gives you the feeling that it's underwater, better than any amount of volumetrics or bubbles could potentially do. Now, I feel like the piece is called Bubble Dancer, so it could use a lot more bubbles as well as more randomness. You can very clearly see that these are sort of instances and they all look very similar. So maybe we can change that up, use geometry nodes to just instance random points within something. You can just very easily distribute points inside of a volume, and then instance on the points like spheres to function as the bubbles, randomize their scale, and it will just look a lot more random than how the bubbles are looking right now. I like the colors in this image. It's nice and bright. I don't have to say, brighten up your image, make it lighter. Yeah, nice submission. What you say about Blender is good to learn. To answer your question, Adil, I think one of the most important things you can learn is to become an artist. So a lot of people strive to become like a prop artist, or they want to be an environment artist, or they want to be a rigger, for example. Not a lot of people want to become riggers, but you know what I mean, right? So they want to specialize in one certain thing. And with the rise of AI, you can expect that a lot of these very basic entry-level tasks are going to change. So in the future, there's probably no need to be a rigger anymore, because you could just use an AI tool to be doing the rigging for you. So instead, what I would do inside of Blender is focus on becoming an artist. Focus on learning how colors work, how to use light to tell a story and paint a picture. And that's also why we do these challenges, right? Because they're very great ways for you to learn those things. Try to tell a story, try to make use of materials and lights and compositing and composition as well, right? So where's the camera? How does it look? What does a camera up high tell what a camera down low doesn't? These types of things make the difference and will separate you from a guy who's just good at making props for a game. Yeah. So that would be my main input. I have actually reviewed the course Alive Shadow Strike. It's an amazing course. You mean the one by Pierre Picot, right? It's really, really good. If you want to learn animation for characters, absolutely look at those courses, for sure. Yo, Pancito. No, you didn't join late. We're just 3 submissions in. So, all good, all good. Yeah, I agree. Not so much, frankly. The hard thing with working with somebody else's blend file is how to take their original idea and use that and turn it into your own. So placing the light, having things look natural within a scene which was made by somebody else can be difficult. And that's part of the reason why we did it, right? So now you have to think about things in a different way. You don't have the freedom to just do what you want for your story. You have to use these building blocks, which is something you'll be doing as well if you work at a professional company. Usually you don't do the entire process yourself. You have other people helping you doing certain parts of the process. So yeah, I completely understand that, Moki. It might not be for everybody. Some people just like the freedom of doing everything themselves. Probably the next one will be something like that as again. But, you know, I thought it was a good experiment to try. Yeah, it was a really good job, Ashraf. Nice to see you in the chat as well. Yeah, well done. I think overall the colors and composition of it is nice. Yeah, like I said, maybe focus on having a bit more differentiation in the bubbles. And I feel you have maybe a few too many light sources in here. So like the glowing door, you don't really need that. The bubbles are nice and shiny though, I like that. But you could do with a fewer lights just to have less distraction in your image. All right, so we're gonna move on to the next one. Oh yeah, this is a great one. This one is called Mechs in Maintenance, and it was done by Knuckles. It's obviously from Gundam Wing. We have 35 submissions in total, Pancito. So, and some will probably take a little bit longer to talk over than others, of course. No, it's not too much. It's still manageable in a 2-hour live stream, right? So, we're probably in the future when this grows bigger and bigger, we're probably gonna have to do something different. But for now, 35, just fine. I'll answer your question later, Shadow Strike, but first let's go into this submission. So yeah, to me, this is an amazing submission. The main thing that stands out, and it's actually something that's really hard to do, is skill. So it's really hard to understand the skill of something in 3D because our brain is very hardwired to accept skill in reality and everything just looks the way it looks. But as you can see here, we have the Gundam, right? The mech. And it's huge, or it's supposed to be huge at least. So we have all these tiny people here trying to, you know, work on this Gundam. But if you look at all these robot arms here, for example, these ones over here, they're very, very smooth. They look like small scale robot arms. And the thing is, with large scale scenes, you want as much detail as possible, because the more small details you have, the better you can showcase the fact that things are large. So the humans are a great addition. They definitely help in selling that. This arm, for example, works perfectly fine. But as you can see on the Gundam, I'm not sure if I can zoom in really easily. Let's see. Can I? I think so. Can I? I cannot. Okay, so I can zoom in, but as you can see on the mech here, there's a lot of plates going on. There's visible, and it might not be visible to you guys because of YouTube compression, but there's visible edges. There's all these small size details, and by adding in these details, you create skill. So if you do the same here and on all these parts which are visible of the hallway, this ginormous ship, because Gundams are huge, right? Yeah, Control plus mouse wheel doesn't do anything, just does this. So no idea. But yeah, so overall, great image, great composition. I like the lighting as well. There's a clear focal point on the Gundam in the main center of the image. So yeah, it's basically the rest of this around it. So this whole middle part, perfect. The rest of it around it, it sort of throws me off. And that's just because of the scale, right? So adding in all these small displacements in here, all these small wall textures makes it look ginormous, you know. Have this be a gigantic wall of small sci-fi plates and stuff. I think those kinds of details will really help sell the skill. Overall though, amazing job. Love this one. All right, so the next one is called Monochrome Intrusion by JNN. I'm very curious what you guys think about this one. Ooh, 3D anime style. I believe Lightning Boy Studio has a few good videos and probably also some paid stuff as well, Akilesh. So maybe look into that. But there's not a whole lot of NPR related content out there. Check out Nogi's channel. He has some great NPR style videos. But yeah, overall, not a whole lot of anime stuff out there. I do recommend you use the Goo Engine version of Blender, which is created by Dylan Goo, who makes a lot of anime style NPR stuff, and that engine is optimized for NPR. Yeah, so good to see you guys like this. I really like it as well, and it sort of grew on me as well. In the beginning, I was like, I don't know, and the first rendition of this image was very poorly readable, but they really managed to change that. So with better depth of field and a lot of light on the robot, it still stands out, even though that basically everything is in one color, or just black and white. Still, they managed to get the robot clearly readable in the image, and I actually really like this submission. The sort of noodles, what's it called, like spaghetti, the color spaghetti coming in is also really cool, and it tells a clear story as well, right? So there's a monochrome world, and basically color is intruding on this world, and it's grabbing this robot inside of this monochrome world and trying to pull it into the color. So yeah, absolutely love that one. All right, so just to get back to your question, Shadow Strike, how to charge for clients is quite difficult. I actually have a video on how to use add-ons basically to make money, and it sort of goes over that as well. But charging for clients is dependent on several things, right? So first of all, it's your experience. Second of all, it's the place you live in and the types of clients you have. And third of all, it's probably your goal, basically, like what do you want to make as an artist? And the first one is very simple. It's just the better and more experienced you are, the more money you can ask. The second one depends on the place where you live and the types of clients where you have. So basically, if you live in India, for example, the mean income is lower than in the United States. So if you have clients from India, it would make sense to ask less. However, artistry, 3D artistry, whatever, is a very global job, right? So ideally, you are good and you find clients on the other side of the world where they make more money, and you can just ask US rates for that. So basically, yeah, you have to think about it smart and, look at it from who's approaching me and what is a fair rate to ask from them depending on where they come from. And the third one is, what do you want to make? Very simple, basically. Yeah, if you want to make 10K a month, make sure your hourly rate reflects that. And if your experience is good enough and you are a great artist, then you'll succeed at making that amount of money. So look at it like that. I want my art to cost as Beeple's one. Yeah, I do too. All right, so we're going to move on to the next one. Oh yeah, I really like this one. And this one is called Misguided Atomic, and it's done by Atomic. Atomic's in the chat, so show them some love. Really cool submission. I'm also curious, actually, Bake. Curious what they're saying. But yeah, really cool submission. I love those tentacles popping out of the ground, the destruction, the character being grabbed. It really tells a story again as well. There's, and I just noticed that actually right now, there's these big claws in the back there trying to destroy this door. Just really cool overall. My main feedback for this one would be the blue. The sort of rim lighting that it has, it looks kind of weird, right? And these ones as well. I feel like they almost distract from the quality of this center piece here. So ideally, in my mind, these could just go. Make them black or, metal, whatever, just don't have them be blue. These could stay, but maybe take out the green, replace that with red, so you just have blue and red going on. There's 2 colors instead of 3. Similarly here, take out the green, just have it be blue. And overall, I feel like that would just slightly enhance the composition, make it look a little less busy in terms of color and light. But yeah, overall, really, really nice. Really enjoy this submission. And I'm curious, Atomic, how you did those tentacles, because they're amazing. Uh-oh. Nobody used your UVs, Bake. All that time wasted. No, we still appreciate it. Definitely. Yeah, so let me know, Atomic, how you did the tentacles. You downloaded them. Oh, okay. Well, they perfectly fit, though. That's actually pretty sick. But yeah, I mean, that's a great way of doing things, right, guys? So I'm not sure if you guys know the term kit bashing, but basically it's to use assets from others, both paid and free assets, and use those to sort of kit bash together your scene and have those assets tell the story for you, essentially. It just saves you a ton of time having to model everything yourself, and you can just focus on lighting, composition, and storytelling. All right, next one. The Abandoned Space Station by Alfirasi597. Yo, Muhammad, welcome in the chat. So I like this one. I think the UI parts are pretty cool. Overall, I feel that this image is slightly too bluish. It's just like I always say, right? So look through your eyelashes at an image. So sort of close your eyes and stare at the image through your eyelashes. Make it as blurry as possible and see what remains. And basically what you get is a large amount of the same color blue with a few parts which are the UI and light elements which pop up. So if that's the case, that means that your image is too uniformly saturated with one color. So overall, very good piece, but it could use a little less blue, maybe some vignetting, and other small changes that could really help sort of keep the focus on what matters, right? So the character in the middle and some of the UI elements in the back. This thing over here, the character in the back there, warming up. And there's some pretty interesting stuff going on. You just need to make sure you direct the viewer's eye to it. Good advice is remove glasses. Well, yeah. Yo, welcome, Muhammad Noor. Sorry for messing that up. Thank you for subscribing. I don't actually see any of the subscriber prompts coming in the alerts. Have you guys seen any subscriber alerts? It is too dark. I don't agree. It's not too dark. It's just too blue. It's too uniformly colored. But yeah, overall, nice submission. I like those lights coming from the helmet. Good job. Keep at it. Ooh, we're not waiting for anything. We're just reviewing all of the submissions, and then we're going to decide on the winner. And this next one is called Secret of the Depths by Jabobo. And I really like this one. I'm curious what you guys think. Again, great use of the back there. The eye in the background is just something, and you're probably going to see it in like the second or third time you're looking at this image, which is good because you want an image to develop the longer you look at it. You want somebody to stay interested, and to keep them interested, they need to see new things every time they look at an image. So very cool. Eye in the background. diver character in here. These green, I don't know, they remind me of The Simpsons, so I'm just gonna say nuclear reactor bars. In the front here, nice highlights. They automatically light up the scene as well, creating this nice green lighting on the diver character. The diver character looks absolutely amazing. There's just a little bit of light peeking in through the windows here. Yep, overall, it's great. Hey guys, and this one doesn't feel like it's inside the water. I'm not sure. I mean, I get what you mean, and maybe you could fix that with some bubbles. Basically coming from the plants, right? Because plants tend to create oxygen, so have them create some sort of oxygen. But because of the fish, because of the plants, because of the fact that there's a diver with a scuba mask and everything, to me, this feels clearly like it's underwater. I'm not seeing many issues with that. The bubble's just a minor detail. It would help sell it a little bit, but I mean, overall, not a big issue for me. That's a very broad question. How much can you make with Blender software? I don't know. You could make 0 up until like 1 million or something. It just depends on what you do. I believe like Hard Ops has sold over 40,000 copies, each at $40, so that's well over 1 million just from an add-on. I mean, you know, it just depends on what you do. But yeah, it's not about the money. It's not about the money, but we all need to make a living somehow, so it's always a little bit about the money. But yeah, great submission, Jaboba. Really enjoyed this one. Yeah, one of my favorites, definitely. The only thing I have as feedback for this one is I wonder why you chose to keep the image blurry. I'm not sure if you are in the chat, but if you are, please enlighten us, because overall this image isn't sharp. So the focal point here in the middle or the diver, it's not sharp. Personally, I would have liked it more if it was, but maybe that's like a artistic choice, and if that's the case, then that's fair. Murky water. I guess it could be murky water, but from like a storytelling perspective, you know, having it sharp just makes more sense. And murky water, it doesn't look like murky water. And for example, this is a crab holding this thing. Really cool, but I just noticed it because it's so blurry. So yeah, next time I would say keep this in focus. All right, next one by Keiko, and it's called Close to Spaghetti. Yeah, I'm vibing. Yeah, I like this music. It's amazing music. No, it's not looking blurry because of low samples and noise reduction. This was an obvious choice, just to use a different depth of field setting and have a different focal point. Yeah, Close to Spaghetti. So, like Adrian is saying, it's because of the black hole, of course. So yeah, really clever naming there. Overall, like it. Looks good. If I should be nitpicky, and I guess I should, it feels a little bit grainy, and there's a lot of chromatic aberration. I guess that could be because of like the effects of the black hole in the background, maybe, but personally I just don't really like chromatic aberration that much. I feel it's a little bit of a cheap tool to use. So, but that's my personal opinion, right? So if it's like used intentionally for the story, go for it. Definitely good. But personally, for me, I'd like to see less of it. Now, what I do think you could add here is a little bit of rim lighting here on the arm, just to create a bit of separation for the character because it's not quite dark. Same goes for the leg here. Just make sure that the character is always popping out of the image, because it's the most important part here. You're trying to tell this dramatic story of this space traveler being stretched out to spaghetti thinness because of a black hole gravity here. And for example, the skin shade looks a little bit weird, so it feels a little bit glossy, almost like a doll instead of an actual human. So maybe, but that's just a small thing. Oh, okay. So Jabobo's in the chat there, and they're saying that the blurriness was to emphasize that the action is underwater. I hear you. Overall, though, good cameras underwater perform perfectly fine. I mean, just watch some nature documentaries shot underwater. So, you know, don't be afraid to just keep it sharp. Ideally, yeah, paid courses absolutely teach something different. So usually free courses are shorter, less in-depth, and they're sort of more aimed at entertainment value, just like my videos are. And paid courses are usually very long. They have, you know, very in-depth knowledge, and they just go over everything that you need to know to complete a certain project. And it's not for everybody, but if you have the patience to do something like that, it's absolutely more worth it than free stuff, because you just learn so much more. Okay, you're trying to make it look cool as the space is low temperature. Okay. Yeah, I love the lines. The speed lines here, these things, amazing. Really well done. It just adds all of this movement. Great choice, and it's such a simple thing to do, but you need to think of it, so very clever. But it's a very, very simple thing to do that really adds so much dynamic elements to an image for, in this case, the story. Great job. All right, so we're gonna move on to the next one. Lego Spaceman by Ramond. I believe they said, yeah. I see what you did with the lighting, Pancito. My advice would be check out the lighting video I did, because only relying on natural light makes sense, but it's just usually not the best option to tell your story. So, you know, professional photographers, movie makers, whatever, they always use additional lighting to emphasize stuff. So always do that. Yeah, so these are Legos, and indeed they're all changing sizes. Ramond, in his post, explained that he used Joey Carlino's change everything to Lego method, which is a video he made. Great video, by the way. Joey makes a lot of great videos, so if you're not subscribed, definitely go check out Joey Carlino on YouTube. But yeah, overall, I think it's a pretty basic image, but the approach is very cool. You know, using Lego is always fun. It sort of lost a lot of the original look and feel in the process, and the colors don't necessarily make sense to me. So I like the spaceman and the fact that he's red. Also, maybe you could have changed up the hands and the backpack for a different color. And the bricks on the side there, I don't really see why there are red colors. Maybe it would have been better if everything was just sort of metallic and grayish, and the focal point would have been this clear red space guy. Fun submission though, and a very fun approach. What about Smeef? Smeef is my boy. I love Smeef. He makes amazing videos. They're incredibly fun to watch. He also has some courses as well on Skillshare, I believe. So check out Smeef. You probably already are, but Smeef is amazing. Yeah, that's true. Not so much, frankly. Legos are very reflective. They're made of ABS plastic, which is a very reflective plastic. So these do feel a little bit too rough. Oh, thank you, David. Yeah, it was fun to be a part of his latest video. Fingerprints, yes, GNN, yes, absolutely. Fingerprints would have been amazing because it's sort of, just imagine this looks like it's actually put together by somebody by hand, and you know, maybe they should also have added a wire here and just make it look like this was made in real life, right? And I think something like that could be an incredibly subtle thing to do. Have the fingerprints in there, have a little bit of fattiness from, you know, skin grease and stuff. Yeah, incredible idea to turn this from just a Lego 3D render into something that looks like it was actually done in real life. All right, so we're gonna move on to the next one. This one is Neon Genesis Evangelion by Dr. Divine. Okay, yeah, that makes sense, Ramon. That makes a lot of sense, actually. Still a fun idea, though, right? You know, maybe someday. Maybe someday. All right, so Neon Genesis Evangelion. It's based on the anime Evangelion. I don't even know how to pronounce that. Evangelion, whatever. I like the idea. I like the shading as well. I like this sort of, you know, octo robot arm here. Evangelion. Yeah, maybe. However, I feel like the image it's sort of hard to tell what's going on. You know, I can see we're in space. I can see there's a robot arm. I can see this character sort of flying outside here. But because of all these thick black lines, and I assume these are just the line modifier lines, you know, the one available in Blender, they're just a bit too strong in my opinion. They need to be more subtle. Like on the character they look nice, but on the rest of the ship they're just too strong. And because of that, combined with like the colors and the way it's lit, I feel it's kind of hard to tell what's going on. How is he breathing? Oh, he's probably not breathing. He's probably very dead. He's probably frozen, actually, since it's like what? Try saying Evangelion. Evangelion. Okay. Good one. Great takes. Yeah, and I agree with Muhammad there that it sort of feels like the character's lacking movement. But then again, if he's dead, that's fine, right? There's no need to move around when you're dead. Yeah, you know, decent submission, well done. Keep at it for sure. I'd love to see the next one. And what I like, I should give compliments for that, is I remember Dr. Define submitting for the last one as well, and they did a completely different style. So it's always good to use these challenges to try out new styles, right? So before it was like realism, and now it's NPR, and I think that's really fun to see that people are trying something different, something they haven't done before. Yeah, perfect use case for these challenges for sure. Yeah, if he's dead, it's fine. I mean, come on. What you gonna do about it, right? He's dead. All right, we're gonna move on to the next. Oh, yeah. So this is done by Mr. GR, and it's called Zero Gravity Exploration. Oh, nah, that's sad. Oh, not so much Frank, that's too sad. Yeah, I see a comment, and that's exactly what I thought. Good kit bashing here. So, like I said before, kit bashing is using other assets, and this is definitely what this person did, right? So, There's no way somebody makes all of this look that good in a short amount of time, like 2 weeks. So they used assets from other people, which is perfectly fine, by the way. The main thing with using kit bashing and using other people's assets is you get a discrepancy in how things look, the art style. And usually that boils down to fidelity. Fidelity is, simply put, the amount of detail something has. So, yeah, I mean, the machine could float, right? But this guy has insane amounts of detail. This guy has insane amounts of detail. The items in the back there have insane amounts of detail. But then the ship itself, it just feels very low poly, right? So we can clearly see faceting here because it's not been subdivided. There's no bevel. And all of this, it just looks too clean. It doesn't have enough detail to match the assets that are used for the rest of the scene. And, you know, if it was all in the same style as the walls, it's fine. And if it was all in the same style as the astronaut, it's also fine. But having 2 levels of fidelity inside of the same scene is kind of weird. Yeah, it could work, like Nogi is saying, for stuff like Mirror's Edge, where they do that, where they have low fidelity. But then again, Mirror's Edge looks amazing, right? So they're just leaning into it in terms of color and in terms of style. But all the things that are inside of this scene, like even the basic walls, the textures are amazing. Even today, Mirror's Edge is like a, 15-year-old game, and it still looks amazing if you open it up now. Because the textures that they use, which are very limited ones, but they're all amazing quality. So the fidelity throughout the game still feels similar. All right, we're gonna move on to the next one. And you might recognize this one because I used it for the thumbnail. Yeah, that is indeed Albin's astronaut, and Albin makes amazing models, and this is one of the models you could actually win if you're first place. Amazing high quality astronaut model. All right, so you are fired by L42W. I love this submission. I'm curious to hear what you guys think. All right, so this is a good example, right? Still, these shapes, they're very basic still. But the shaders, the textures, they look high quality. They have the same detail, fidelity as the characters and as the background and as everything else. And that makes sense in your head. And because it makes sense in your head, it gives the overall image more quality. So, really cool. I love the fact that the door is just fully blown off. This guy in the back here flying off into space. Space, in this case, being all purple, you know, it sort of insinuates that maybe they're inside of some sort of space storm. And yeah, there's all these sparks and stuff. And there's a clear story going on. So I feel like, you know, this person really thought out before starting to create the image what they are trying to tell here. And with the use of assets and, you know, smart and great looking materials, UI elements which help tell the story here, right? So there's definitely some sort of warning. And I mean, makes sense, right? The whole back of the ship was blown out. So warning, warning, people are going to die. Yeah, very cleverly set up. And also there's some nice vignetting going on to really emphasize this center point of the image. Oh yeah, The Expanse is pretty amazing show, by the way. Yes, being floated. Technically. I like the fact that you use the word technically, even though this is not something we're technically actually doing. There's no people flying around in space being floated, so. But yeah, great submission. Love this one. obviously, because I used it for the thumbnail. You made a 63,000 frame animation of our solar system yesterday. I don't even believe you rendered a 63,000 frame animation in a single day. How? How did you do that? My PC is crying at the idea. All right, so we're gonna move on to the next one. Oh yes, this one is called Lone Marauder by 5am5. 5 RTX 4090s. Well, at least you'd need 5. I have one RTX 4090, and it's not gonna get close to 63,000 frames in a single day. All right, so yeah. Anyways, we're looking at the Lone Marauder here. What I really enjoy about this submission is the fact that they actually added sort of UI elements on top, like it's a camera. So that's really cool, because sort of the part of this challenge was to use compositing and stuff you could just add on in the compositor basically to tell your story. So there's these scan lines going on, you know, the camera is inside of this broken down ship. They found a body which is identified, although it's sort of not, because the identity is undetermined and the cost of that is as well. But yeah, I like the storytelling in this one. Overall, might have too much chromatic aberration, and the sort of scan lines are slightly distracting, and the same goes for the UI, right? So the UI is just a little bit thick. Text is a little bit too much in your face. So the idea here is amazing, and it could just use a little bit better execution still. Try looking at some sci-fi shows, you know, space related movies and stuff, and whenever they show UI elements, they're usually not that in your face like this. It took 6 hours, 53 minutes, and 7. Wow. Okay. Crazy. Well done. Every render farm on the planet. Yeah. Sounds like it. Yeah. Pancito, you could composite outside of Blender. We wanted people to use Blender as much as possible, so we sort of emphasized that using only Blender is a plus. Nonetheless, though, using any software is fine, as long as you're not just generating an image only using AI. All right, we're gonna move on to the next one. Immortal or Ruins by Ash Torin. Oh, that's a good question too, Bikosi. I'd have to talk it over with the mods. I think it's fine, honestly. I mean, the Discord server is more or less aimed at Blender users, but overall the goal for the challenges is to learn and to grow, and I don't really care, you know, which software you use, just as long as you create an artwork and try to become better at what you do. So it's probably fine. I'm gonna discuss it with the mods, but do join the Blender dojo, as we'll probably allow it for future challenges. All right, so this piece, I really like the fact that they added these mirror pieces in here, because you can see the reflections in there. That's really cool. Helps you see a little bit more of the image as well. I agreed with the comment from Not So Much Frankly that the character needs a bit more highlights, because it's kind of hard to tell. Also, this sort of shadow beam, which is probably part of some volumetric shadows, it just kind of distracts me. So I would have rather have it not be there. It's probably because of these sort of bars that you can see up top, but it's just too much. So maybe I believe a good fix for this could be to increase the anisotropy. So volumes have anisotropy, and if you increase that, it's probably gonna make it more subtle. So look into that. Another thing with these mirror parts is they look very cool, but you can see that there's some line stuff going on here. And that's probably a screen space reflection issue and the way render engines work in 3D. So I'm not sure if this is Eevee. I'm thinking it might be, and if it is, that's probably the issue. Screen space reflections can be a pain in the ass. Ooh, the best rich. Nice. Well done. Thank you for submitting. But yeah, overall, cool piece. I really like the fact that you changed it up so much. You know, nice, unique textures, different style. You made it look like an ancient temple, which I think is cool because the original file didn't look anything like that. So well done. Try to put a little bit more emphasis on the character next time. And this thing over here, which is also to the top here, is that supposed to be some sort of snake or, you know, I have no idea, but it looks quite intricate. And if it is like an important part of the story, try to sort of include it better with more light and, you know, explain to people visually what it's there to do. That could really help sort of, you know, tell the story a little bit better. Dextorn, to answer your question, can you tell me how to get a client? I tried everything like Fiverr, Upwork, nothing. The best way to find clients is to share your art online. Use Instagram, use TikTok, use Twitter, use Facebook, for all I care. Use YouTube, but have your art be seen by others. And the fact that it's seen will make sure that more people get to see it. And there will be people who talk to other people who say, well, maybe I need an artist. And then they say, well, I saw this amazing art piece the other day on Instagram, so maybe check out this person. It's basically word of mouth, essentially. And the other way, yeah, like JNN is saying, is networking. So attend, you know, places where people gather that do similar work, and talk to them. Create connections, network with people, essentially. All right. So, nice piece, Ashtorin. Thank you for submitting. And we're gonna move on to the next one. Oh, they were vines. Okay. Yeah, so they don't really look like vines to me. Yeah, I thought it was a snake. No worries, of course, but it's always good to have every element. Like, hey, thank you for subscribing, Denny Court. What I could say about that, maybe that's a very important thing to note, is whenever you feel like an element isn't working out, just leave it out. You're better off with less elements, but all the elements in your scene working, than having in a bunch of elements which feel like they're not fully succeeded, and you feel like they aren't doing what you intended them to do. If that's the case, just take it out. Yep. All right, so next one, new species discovered. Blue gamer beast. I really like the colors in this image. Fun story going on. This sort of, I don't know if it's a monster. It kind of looks cute. But I really like how this looks. I like the portal as well. Sparks. There's movement inside of the image. Yeah, great submission. My main feedback for these ones is, again, this feels like it's not sharp. I think the focal point is this creature behind him. But if that's the case, you need slightly less depth of field just to make sure that this character is sharper. because by having the character be blurry and the sort of species creature here being sharp, you create this detachment visually. And the other two main points that I have is I don't really like these green lights here. I would have just kept them red. Makes more sense in the image, and they become less distracting for your eyes because you can just focus on the colors which are mainly there, red and blue. And I like the fact that you tried adding foreground elements, like the coffee mug or this box or cube shape here, or this hammer over here. Yo, it's Cerulean, thank you for subscribing. But an important thing is when you add in these elements, make sure they make sense. So if we look at the characters, right? And we look at sort of the style of this overall image, this hammer feels out of place. It feels very medieval compared to this very sci-fi scene that's going on. And this mug over here, although pretty cool with the coffee coming out and everything, these guys can't drink coffee. They wear masks. So why would there be a coffee mug here? I think the idea is amazing, but you know, maybe have it be something with a straw, which they could technically drink through their mask. Having everything in an image make sense helps create a more believable image. So yeah, that's my main feedback. But overall, I really, really like the creature. I really like the space and the portal and this character here. So well done. And like the Game Factory is saying, knowing a bit of color science helps with composition for sure. And they definitely know a bit of color theory. Thank you, Risky Buddy, for subscribing. Top 100 submission of what, Shadow Strike? I'm not sure, Jane, and quite a few more. But I'll try to pick up the pace a little. All right, so next one is called Lost Lab by D. Benny. I really like this submission because it's very unique, right? So this was one of the few submissions which went down a sort of jungle, space, alien world vibe. And the fact that all these mushrooms are growing everywhere, there's these sort of vines and almost like tentacles growing on. It looks very alien. And the use of the color is also very alien, right? So I talked about it in my lighting video. Green is one of those colors that we either associate with nature or with alien stuff. So this light that you have in the image, it feels alien, so that really helps tell a story. And in the background, there's this scary looking thing. It's very vague, right? So it's your mind is trying to make sense of it. It's like, whoa, what's going on? What's this thing in the back there? And, you know, having a light behind it, it makes sense. So yeah, really well done. Yeah, I'm not gonna react to the boss fight video right now. We're doing our own challenge right now. But yeah, I agree. The main thing that sort of detracts from this image is the character. Now, obviously, I know characters are incredibly hard to make, and it's also very hard to find good ones. So I agree. There could be like a mask here, just give an extra feeling of this being an alien world where this person can breathe normally. And a harness would definitely also make sense to have on there. And those few subtle things, you know, maybe a watch with like an oxygen meter or like a radioactive particle meter or something. Those because, you know, there's something going on here as well with like radioactiveness. Those small things will take this image and, you know, just up it a level. But overall, really unique, very cool submission. I like the lighting. It's very top down on the character. It just makes sense, right? So the character is coming down in the ship. All the light is coming in through this hole up top, which this person came down from. So it makes a lot of sense. Looks really good. Yeah, in the back, there's a scary, scary alien. It's really yes. We're probably gonna do an animation challenge in the future, and I'm also just this announcement to you guys. Let me go in full screen here for a little bit, but in the not too distant future, I am going to do a big challenge, and it's going to be like with a dedicated video, announcing it. There's going to be bigger prizes. So, I don't have anything to reveal on that part yet, but I want to do a very huge competition as well. Probably have it last for a month or two, so people can really go crazy and create the most amazing art pieces. So that's something we're going to do in the not too distant future. So make sure to join the Discord and keep an eye out for that. Yeah, a month, probably even longer than a month. Probably going to be like 2 months of time for people to create. All right, so again, D. Benny, amazing submission. One of my favorites. Great storytelling. Next one by Friendly is called Optimus Captured. Now, this person really enjoys Transformers. I remember because they send a lot of Transformer GIFs in the Discord server. But yeah, I mean, very similar actually to the previous one. So also hanging from something, a light coming from the top makes sense, right? In this case, it's not somebody trying to explore, but Optimus is all chained up here. The main thing for me in this image is, well, first of all, the fact that these sort of windows, the image is just placed on top of them. What I would do instead is have them be actual windows and have the clouds be outside on a plane in the distance. And just because there's more depth in that, it will look more realistic as well. But this could be closed off as well, right? There's no need for the clouds at all. And if these were actual windows, this sort of light rays that you have over here, they would also need to come from here, because these are letting in light, right? So, but overall, cool. I like the fact that this person decided to not use that much color, only have Optimus Prime be color. So that's a good idea. Thank you, Fractured Gamer and Umberto Del Barco, for subscribing. But yeah, great rendition. Keep at it. And I like, Megatron in the back there. So, well done. Keep at it. Is what still streaming? Unknown. Do you consider render engine? Yes, but I feel like everybody can just use whatever render engine they want. You could use Eevee, you could use Cycles, you could use K-Cycles, you could use Octane or any other renderer. I don't really care. I just look at the image. Yeah, Adrian, I kind of agree. This is one of my favorites. Space Frog by Jorg or Georg, not sure. Really, really cool. Yeah, you could use Unity. You could use Unreal. I really like this submission. It looks so fun. There's this sort of character, which obviously is just the basic character, right? But then they changed it up and added this helmet on top there. There's this little frog character coming out of it because I guess they couldn't contain themselves and had to try and catch a fish with their huge tongue. All these fish, all these bubbles, amazing depth of field, amazing lighting as well. The fact that there's some subsurface scattering going on in this character. Yeah, there's a lot to like about this image. It looks really soft, that's true. I haven't tried Eevee Next yet. I'm probably gonna do a video on it because it's just the new next big thing and it's gonna be huge for people who don't have hardware to use Cycles. So Eevee Next is amazing. I I agree with your comment, not so much frankly. So the only downside this image might have is the fact that the frog, it's kind of a weird character, and there's quite a lot going on with the fish, which are pink, and the light, that you might not initially notice the frog. Then again, I don't really mind because it just keeps me staring at this image longer. So yeah, I like this submission a lot. Definitely one of my favorites. Also, one of the only people that actually did this is they have these sort of floor lights. I love that. That creates so much ambience on the floor, and it just separates the side elements from the floor as well. Yo, Felix Creed, thank you for joining the stream. Yeah, I hope so, Christian. I hope so. I mean, it could be a toy, Pensito. It could be, but then it would not really make sense, right? Because it just sort of looks like the frog is supposed to be inside of the helmet, inside of this body, sort of piloting this humanoid body. I don't know. I just love the image, for sure. Well, thank you. Appreciate that. Ooh. Yeah, that could be cool. Like a control thing for the suit. So it makes more sense that the frog is supposed to be inside of the helmet. But yeah, amazing submission. So next one by S. Sanjay. It's Time to Destroy. Nice. Good job. Keep at it, Figrix. I think this image is amazing. There's so much fidelity going on. These characters look amazing. The colors are amazing. It's just very, very good. Characters very detailed. Yeah, I agree. Colors are really good. So this person is using something called complementary colors pretty well. Green and orange are complementary colors, so there's a lot of green and there's a lot of orange. That makes sense, right? The thing that sort of makes that look a little bit weird is the fact that there's red going on. And by using more colors than just the green and orange, you're now changing from using complementary colors, which is always 2, to using, 3 colors. And 3 colors can very quickly look a little bit cartoonish, if you will, like comic, if you will, not cartoonish, but like more comic style. For example, Marvel does a lot of that to make their movies look more comic than real. And so I would have considered maybe having these lights be orange as well, just to keep a more uniform complementary look for this entire image. And another thing this image also has going on is you can again clearly see that these images use kit bashed assets. So these wall elements are way less detailed. Some of these textures way less detailed, and the characters are extremely high quality and detailed. So it makes sense people use characters which they found online, because characters, again, very hard to make. However, always think in your mind, if I use this very high quality character, that means the rest of my image has to be an equally high quality for it to look real and natural. That's a good question, Finbot. There wasn't any particular... I like sci-fi stuff. That's probably the main reason. I really like sci-fi stuff. So I wanted to do a challenge with a set scene, like the base file we use for this one, and I wanted to do sci-fi. So Bayek went ham on creating this scene, and I was like, yep, I love it. Let's go for it. What do you mean, Atomic, by like the sizing? I think the scale of stuff looks pretty good here, actually. The playlist, I can just show you guys, but the playlist is just Stream Beats Lo-Fi. So you can just go to Stream Beats Look up their lo-fi playlist, and it has a ton of songs. They're all pretty good, and you can listen to them free, no copyright issues when streaming. I don't think this is a big robot. That's a predator from the movie Predator versus Alien. All right, so we're gonna move on to the next to keep things going. This one is called Oops by Talix. And what I remember from the story is the astronaut kicked over some cargo boxes containing a ton of donuts. And obviously, we at Blender love donuts. So donuts is always a big plus. Okay, yeah, I hear what you're saying, Atomic. I think it might be the fact that there's not a whole lot of depth of field for the foreground character, maybe. But yeah. Hi, Kaizen. I've just started using Blender 2 days back. I've done your dice one and Blender Guru's donut one, and I'm going to do the sword. Is it right to do so? There is no right or wrong. You just have to do what you want to learn, first of all. So if you check out my latest video about learning Blender, it goes over the process of learning basically any skill you want to learn, and in this case Blender, of course. So check that out, follow the process. It worked for me. I can definitely recommend it. So check that out, have a look, decide on something that you enjoy and put your effort and your focus into that. Don't try and learn to do all the 1,000 things you can do inside of Blender. Just focus on 5 or 6 things that you enjoy. Yeah, there's no frosting in these donuts. So they're definitely not Blender 4.0 Blender Guru donuts. Do you think Suzanne will eventually... Nah, Suzanne is also an original gem from the Blender community. So I think maybe we just get Suzanne and a donut eventually. But yeah, for this image, let's go back to the image. I like the story. I like the floating boxes, all the floating donuts. The lighting is pretty good in this one as well. Overall, obviously, this is a bit more low poly in style. So the astronaut is quite low poly, but like I said before, in this case, everything seems to be relatively low poly, and that makes sense again, right? So because everything is, you know, sort of low poly, it still works, and that's good. So yeah, maybe the only thing I change is the amount of donuts, because there's now so many going on. They're sort of distracting, or their placement, maybe it should be a little bit more around the astronaut and not so much at the top here. Maybe have one closer to the camera as a foreground element, very blurry. But yeah, that's about it. Overall, very original and fun submission. I have several tutorials on how to make your own textures inside of Blender Hero. So I believe the video is called how to make pro materials and and smart materials are easy, or something like that. I have 2 videos actually. All right, so this next one is called Halo by Salvaged. And let me begin, first of all, by saying that I am going to critique this render. However, it's not a competitor for winning, because this person changed the angle and position of the rig. So, yep. Just wanted you guys to know that. Overall, though, it's still, you know, somebody put in work, and we're just gonna, you know, critique it anyways. They just can't win any of the prizes. I love Halo, first of all. I used to play that when I was younger a lot, and I think it's really cool, right? So we have the Halo Trooper here, and we have one of the, I think it's a grunt, the one that explodes, and the kids all cheer whenever you shoot them in the head, which is kind of weird to say, but it's actually true. Anyways, the character obviously looks great. The grunt looks great, and the rest of the scene is visually not that strong and intense, which I kind of like, because it sort of keeps the focus on the 2 main elements, the grunt and the character. In this case, however, you can see the sort of materials that were chosen, especially for the wall. They might have too much fidelity in this case. So I believe they used something called JS Placement, which is a sort of app which can generate these very sci-fi looking normal and color textures for you for free. It's pretty cool, actually. No, you're all good, Fire Specs. Didn't miss that much. Well, I mean, you missed several submissions, which were amazing, but I mean, yeah, that's about it. Yeah, it's called Agreeable Texture. I feel it's a bit too intense. There's a bit too much going on. Maybe up the scale, you know, make it 2 times, 3 times as large, so you have less of these agreeable elements going on. But overall, very nicely done. It's a shame we can't use it for the actual contest submissions. I have no idea, Abdullah Sahir, if that's possible. Maybe somebody in the chat can answer that. I used to play I don't play either, by the way, Fegrix. I used to play Halo, but I never played CS or Vala. Thank you, Vamban. I really tried to answer all of my comments. Sometimes it can be difficult and quite time consuming, but I like to, you know, stay in touch with you guys. So that's another reason I have the Discord. That's another reason I do the live streams. And that's the main reason that I answer basically every comment I get still, just because I want you guys to know that, you know, I appreciate you watching the video. I appreciate you reaching out, and I'm here to help people learn and grow. All right, so this next one is called You're in Deep, Access File Sigurd. And it's done by Sigurd as well. And I used to play Fortnite a lot, yeah. But this one is really, really cool to me. I really enjoy this one. I think the whatever this is in the back, really cool. This guy is really cool. This sort of note in the front there is incredibly smart to tell a story. It's just a foreground element. Everybody will notice it, and it's just such a clever way to tell a little bit of story and say something about the rest of the image. My main feedback for this one would be the windows. You know, just take them out. We don't need them. They just add more light and distraction in this top left corner, and we just don't need it. And the other one is, I believe this was rendered in Eevee, and the volumetric stuff is just a little bit too strong. It's just a little bit too strong, and it adds this haze to all of it and makes the entire image feel a little bit washed out somehow. I don't have an art station, it's Cerulean. Hello, Powerdice. Thank you for joining the stream. But yeah, so overall, a really cool submission. Great use of foreground, background, and great use of lighting as well to tell a story here. So the character in the back is clearly visible. It's very ominous. And the guy floating here looks to me like he's kind of screwed. Yeah, great submission. I do freelance work, Hero, but not very often. Usually I just have very limited time for it. Having said that though, I do once every now and then take on freelance work. All right, so this next one is called Houston, We Have a Problem by BH113. Oh, it's from a game. Aha. Lethal Company. Aha. I should check that out. It looks pretty cool. All right, so Houston, we have a problem. I guess so, because there's a lot of debris rolling around. My biggest point here is the amount of dirt and sort of grime everywhere. And I guess that could work. But if your character then is very clean and pristine, it sort of doesn't make sense, right? Because if they were actually walking around here and living here, they would have been dirty as well. So it's the same as with the detail, right? If you want your space to be filthy and grimy and very rusty, then everything needs to adhere to that aesthetic. And if you want it to be very clean and modern and very futuristic, then everything needs to adhere to that aesthetic. So keep that in mind. But yeah, overall, decent lighting. Textures are relatively decent, but again, like I said, it just feels very, very dirty, which doesn't necessarily make sense for a space scene. But yeah, overall, good job. Keep at it. In one of your videos, you mentioned that you were art director. Can you show the work? I mean, you can go to. Let me just put it in the chat. Actually, you can go to this website, which is my old employer. And no, I believe they don't actually have anything on there anymore from when I worked there. But yeah, there's basically, sadly, not a whole lot of proof that I ever was an art director, just because a lot of it sort of got replaced with newer projects that they did. But yeah, I used to be an art director for sure, several years. All right, so this next one, it's just a myth, they said, by Brachii. And Brachii also submitted in the last challenge. And I think it's pretty cool to see because they sort of, I could tell it was made by them. So they have some sort of art style that's noticeable. But yeah, I love this one. I really, really love this one. Curious to hear what you guys think, but I think the lighting is incredibly good. The rim light on the diver is amazing. All of these light rays makes it feel like it's underwater. There's bubbles, there's particles, there's fish, there's debris, there's, you know, underwater plants. There's this cool looking crystal, which apparently was just a myth, but it's not. It lights the character up. You can still see the original hallway from the base file because the door is still in the background there. Yeah, I really can't fault this for anything. It's amazing and absolutely one of my favorites. Seaweed. That's the one. Underwater plants, Moki. Underwater plants. It's just as good. All right, so yeah, I don't know really what to say about this. It's just amazing, and I don't have any feedback at all. I'm standing up. I'm not sitting. I wish I could sit. I kind of need to change my setup so I could sit because, you know, standing for 2 hours is fine. But if I would ever do longer streams, it's going to be a pain. How often do I stream? Currently, I only stream at the end of each challenge. So I stream once a month currently, but I intend to stream more often. But, you know, I need to have time for that as well. Also kind of want to make a second question and have a game streaming channel, but anyway, who knows? So much to do, so little time. How tall are you guys? Ooh, I'm 6 feet. And in normal people metric, that's 1 meters and 80 centimeters. I don't use I only use Blender. All right, so we're gonna move on to the next one, guys, because we need to keep the pace going. the freedom metric, yeah, that's the one. All right, so next one. This one is called No Survivors by Haider Ali, and Haider Ali is actually one of the winners of our previous challenges. In this case, it was the first challenge, Jungle Jewels, which they won. And, you know, rightfully so, because, again, submitted an amazing artwork. Love to hear what you guys think. The fire looks weird. I mean, It could be that the fire looks a little bit blurry compared to the rest of the image. I don't really mind that that much, but I understand what you mean. I believe Haider expressed that they created all the fire animations inside of Embergen and sort of exported that from Embergen as VDMs and then imported it into Blender. So it is actual volumetric fire inside of Blender. And I really like the sort of robot thing in the back there and then the astronaut here. Details are off the charts. And what's cleverly done in this one, something I want to point out, is that by using the fire here, you make it easier for yourself to not have to add in the same levels of detail that you have in the center of the image. So because the fire is blocking out this part of the image and it's blocking this corner here, there's no need to waste time creating assets with high fidelity that match, you know, the rest of your image, but you can just have the fire hide it. That's a very clever way of doing things. Now, what I feel the fire, because I kind of agree with you guys, has sort of going on is that there's smoke as well. And it makes the fire feel a little bit hazy and blurry, while actual fire usually looks very crisp. Just look at like a fireplace, for example. But yeah, still really cool. Very cool that these are actual volumetric flames and not just images. Yeah, you can get ads during the stream. Absolutely. Hopefully it wasn't too long of one. Yeah, so it's a very clever way of doing things, right? Have the fire or whatever element inside of your scene block certain parts of your image just to make it so you need to do less work and still get an amazing image. Yeah, really like this one. Well done, Haider. Again, absolutely visible why you are a winner previously. Also, this light here, by the way, on the astronaut here. Amazing light. And very clear use of color again. So complementary colors, right? Orange and blue. Works. All right, so we're gonna move on to this next one called Imposter by Slender Dan Art. And I'm curious to see if you guys know what I'm gonna say next. Yeah, it's from Among Us for sure. Have you guys played Among Us? Yeah, we've got one of the OGs in the chat. Fire specs. There it is. Too dark. Absolutely. Yeah. Oh, Slender Dan Art is also in the chat. Good to see you here. Yeah, that's the main feedback, right? So the colors is fine. In this case, everybody immediately recognizes as Among Us, and so the fact that there's one very bright green astronaut and one pink reddish one, it's fine. Makes sense because it's sort of definitely detracted from the game anyways. But yeah, overall, just a lot of darkness. Just a lot of darkness. Maybe this light coming from the bottom on this astronaut could have been twice as bright or something. It would have made it more readable, right? So to me, it isn't even visible if the astronaut has legs. Yeah, Fegrix, you can just join the Discord. You will get updates there, but the next challenge is going to be in February. Hero, how long did it take for you to learn Blender? I took about a year, maybe 2, to learn the essentials of Blender, and I'm still learning to this day to get better and more professional at it, of course, but like the main stuff was like 1 or 2 years. The lights are off in the okay, yeah, so I haven't played Among Us. I have seen many videos on it, and I know you can make it dark. Oh, wait, there's actually a third one in here. Did you guys see that? There's another one who's actually killing this one. Oh. But wait. That makes it better. Aha. Nice. Okay, I like that. There's actually, the imposter is actually there. Oh, okay, that's really cool. I've seen this image like 10 times now, but didn't notice that. Yeah, the story does explain it a little bit better. That's true, but again, like usually when people see your art, they're not gonna have the story. So you still want to make sure that somehow you tell the story visually. The fact that the imposter's there, I see a knife there, that's really, really cool. Maybe just, you know, slightly more light, slightly more rim light around the left edge here as well, so it fades less into the background. A few of these subtle changes, a little bit more light here, could make the difference. And the fact that sort of the light, the reactor is turned off, which is part of the game, of course, is really cool, but you could still get away with using a little bit more light. Very cool submission, and even cooler, a lot cooler actually, with the fact that there's the imposter there. Light linking, yes, light linking is your best friend when it comes to these scenes, especially in smaller, you know, confined spaces. Light linking is just perfect for getting light on a subject without having it affect the rest. So in my lighting video, I cover light linking. Definitely check that out. Great submission. Well done, Slender Dan Art. And I hope you participate in the next one as well. All right, so the next one is Not So Dead in the Water by Star. Star has this cool custom character. I believe it's also part of their profile picture. I have no idea, Christian. Would be nice, but I'm not sure. I guess so. It's you know, it's one of the major things that Blender has got going for it, all collection instances and stuff. So I would assume they'd fix that in an upcoming update, maybe 4.1. I'm not sure what that thing is that Star has in their hands. No idea. But yeah, so let's get into this image. My main feedback for this one is the light. So I kind of like the character is amazing. Looks pretty cool. Again, there's a bit of a fidelity issue where sort of the airlock in the back there, for example, looks less detailed than your character does. And my main issue then would be the lighting, because the light is seemingly coming from up front. And assuming that they're flying in space, it could very well be they're close to some sort of sun, and the light will be coming in through the window. And because it's coming from up front, it makes it look a little bit flat, right? So the left side of this image here, it just gets very generic lighting because of that, as well as the door behind it. I don't think it needs this light because you want to keep the focus on the character, where you spend all this time making it with the whatever this thing is, pen-like thing in there. Yeah, mainly look at the lighting for this one, but overall, nice submission. And I believe in your comment you said something about using text, because we use a lot of text in real life, and I completely agree. Text, stickers, decals, whatever you'd like to call them, they're absolutely a part of the real world around us. So adding them in helps sort of immerse you both in the story, but also in the realism of the image. EpiPen, yeah. The hugest EpiPen you've ever seen, for when you need dramatic amounts of adrenaline. Oh, it's a fuel injector. Okay, yeah. I get that, with the Not So Dead in the Water. All right. I mean, that's like a hard thing to tell as well, right? Visually, in just one single frame. So it makes sense that people sort of see it for different things. But yeah, great submission, well done. And we're gonna move on to the next one. We're nearing the last few, I believe. This one is called Winnie the Pooh, A Honey-Fueled Adventure by Wahida Studio. Very cool. Very unique style. The Winnie the Pooh looks kind of funny. He doesn't look like the actual Winnie the Pooh. I have no idea. Winnie the Pooh is public domain already. If it isn't, then close your eyes because you're now looking at copyrighted content. Uh-oh. The leg does look a bit weird, but that's sort of also the style they chose. Thank you, Kuba, for subscribing. But yeah, Winnie looks kind of cool. I think the style is very unique, so they went for a very unique approach. And the thing that sort of stands out for me the most as an issue is again the lines. So very similar to the Evangelion one. This one also has very strong lines going on, and it's probably just the line art modifier or whatever it's called that does its thing. But for example, the line art modifier tends to highlight all these weird edges, so these ones for example, and because you don't subdivide these, you left them original and they were quite low poly, you get all of these extra edges, and all these extra edges make your image look very busy and crowded and sort of messy. So the line art modifier is pretty cool, but ideally I would say use grease pencil. Don't use the line art modifier, just use grease pencil to draw in the lines where they should be and not have the lines everywhere else. Yeah, that's my main feedback. All right, so next one is called Christmas Eve by Cool Guy. Cool Guy was a bit late to the party since Christmas has been a while. But yeah, there's a lot of light in this one. So again, I mean, that makes it feel kind of Christmassy as well. But I think they used Eevee because of all the bloom here. The temperature here, it's about 10 degrees currently, which is kind of warm for the time of the year. So usually it will be around 0 degrees Celsius this time of year, or close to 0 degrees Celsius, but it's definitely winter. I don't really use Unreal, no. Yeah, so Christmas Eve. I like the idea, celebrating Christmas in space. If humans were to go to space for long lengths of time, we would probably still maintain our traditions and routines. So having Christmas in space is kind of a fun idea. But overall, there's a lot going on in this image. There's high contrast. There's a lot of black as well, which you can't really see what's going on. And there's a lot of different colors and lights going on. So my main feedback would be try dialing down the lights, try upping the brightness of some of these parts, which are so extremely dark, and mainly try using not too many different lights and have them be all throughout the scene, because it just starts looking kind of basically like a Christmas tree, but not in a good way. So keep it subtle when it comes to lights. Oh, that's a good question. Do you use add-ons? Yes, I do use add-ons. Let me just show you which ones I use. User-enabled add-ons. These are the add-ons that I currently use. And I also use a bunch of sort of enabled, sort of like built-in add-ons, but these are the ones I use that I bought. So yeah, make a screenshot if you want, but yeah, that's it. No node wrangler. Oh yes, for sure, node wranglers enabled. Absolutely have node wrangler enabled. See, I can't even imagine doing anything inside of Blender without Node Wrangler. All right, so yeah, cool submission, cool guy. And next time try focusing a little bit more on having a more uniform color scheme for your lights and have them be less strong. Next one is called Shuttle KV3 Distress Call, and it's done by our previous contest winner, KV3D, who won the Winter Wonderland Challenge. Oh, I see the first comment coming in already. KV3D being a winner again. You've got fans, KV3D. Okay, so this image has got a lot going for it, right? So it has the fidelity all throughout. The astronaut looks cool. The shards of glass are amazing. They create all these specks of highlight everywhere, which is really cool. We have this huge alien in the background, again from Alien vs Predator. In this case, not being the Predator, but the alien, and it looks really cool. There's nice highlights on it, so you can tell it's there, the shape is there, but the depth of field makes it so that it's not too distracting. You can still focus on the astronaut. Yeah, it feels like a very dramatic piece. Lights work well, colors work well, composition works well. I mean, yeah, I really like it. Well done. I can't really fault it for anything either. Yeah, I agree with what Not So Much Frankly is saying there. So these glass shards give, especially combined with like the blood, you know, coming out of the astronaut there, it makes it look like the image is in motion. There's an action going on. So if you can ever do that, just like Keiko did, for example, with the black hole with the lines, if you can ever find a way to add visible motion inside of your image, it helps tell the story. Obviously, don't do it if it's not necessary, but you know, if it is necessary and it adds to your story, it's a great way of making your images look better. I mean, yeah, the astronaut does have a bit of a plasticky face, but you know, it's one of those things where finding or making good realistic humans is just incredibly hard in 3D. And another thing I just noticed is there's a floating head there and another astronaut mask here. That's pretty cool. Just a fun little detail. I also really like all these elements here. So there's sort of these, whatever they are, like vents, and the materials on the walls, they make sense. She is dead. Yes, she does look very dead with all the blood. Great submission for sure. Absolutely one of the potential winners again. So yeah, we're gonna see. All right, so next one, and I believe this is one of the last ones. It's called J1407B by Muhammad Green. I believe Muhammad is also in the chat, so show them some love. Cool submission. I really like the fact that you decided to take out the back there and just have this planet with all this, you know, asteroid debris and several planets in the back there. That makes it look really cool, like we're deep in outer space. Also, well done with the light, because you're not having too much of a distraction going on here. Just basically you're saying, okay, please look at this, and not the things in the back there. But this is one of those pieces again that has a bit of an issue with like fidelity, and the astronaut looks a bit low poly compared to, for example, the background elements there. It does match the rest of the scene, but these background elements, I'm not sure if you used an image or if you made like custom plans yourself. But the fact that these look very high quality and this has more of a low poly feel to it, that sort of mismatches again. Overall, cool submission though. Well done. Keep at it. And you know, maybe next time try to make sure to match everything closely. and have everything be the same level of detail essentially. Next one is called Kill It Now by Popgun. And it's another one with the use of a clear water line. So another underwater one, which is pretty funny actually. I thought it was pretty cool to see that so many of you sort of associated the blend file with being underwater. They added a lot of bubbles. Definitely helps. The water line helps. And then there's this character sort of swimming, I guess, to save their life because there's all these laser beams coming in the water, and it's called Kill It Now. So I would assume that, you know, they're trying to kill this character who's trying to escape underwater in this wrecked spaceship. I'm not sure which one is yours, Adrian, but there's still a few more to go, so hopefully it's in there. Yeah, I downloaded them all, so I think I have them all, but we're gonna see. Yeah, I agree with what KV3D is saying. Overall, this image is really good. The story is pretty good. It's all clear what's going on, where it's located, and you know, so very well done. But it is a little bit busy. The image is just a little bit too cramped with elements. So maybe moving all this on the left side just a little bit more to the left, moving this a little bit more to the right, and having, you know, a bit more breathing space essentially for this character around it would have made it slightly easier to read. But yeah, great submission and very clearly underwater, so that's well done because it's a hard thing to achieve. All right, so the next one is called Overgrown by Pumpkin, and it's Indiana Jones-ish, an Indiana Jones style character, strung up in a bunch of vines. So what this person did very well, in my opinion, is the fact that there's a bunch of foreground elements, which again sort of remove from the scene, which is good because again, you make it easy for yourself in that case, and you create an automatic natural vignetting for this character here, so people automatically start looking at the centerpiece of the image. Now the light is also nice. It's coming in from the left side here, and I mean, all these assets look pretty cool. The main thing here would be the character itself. The character just feels low poly, and it doesn't really match the rest of the style of the scene. If this character was like similar in style to all of this, it would have been amazing. But now it just creates a little bit of a jarring experience because the character feels just unreal compared to the rest of it. And again, it's fine if you want to use a character that's not realistic looking like that, but then make sure that the rest of it doesn't look realistic. But yeah, cool idea. And thank you for submitting. We're going to move on to the next one. Oh yes, this is called Crash Side Crystals by Cote Picard. I feel like this one is underwater again. No idea if it's true though. So for this one, first thing I want to point out that I really like is the crystal. Crystal has an amazing color and there's an amazing glow, automatically attracts your eyes to it. So love it, well done. The character looking at it like that, and it's a pretty unique looking character as well. It creates a very unique vibe for the image. Now for the rest, I feel like the hallway itself is very different in style for the character and the crystal. Although the character is somewhat alien, it also feels like it should, like for example, it could fit in Elden Ring, for example. And the crystal similarly, it could fit into a theme like Elden Ring. And the rest of the ship around it just has sci-fi feel to it. So I feel like a bit of a disconnect is going on there. Now the lighting here is really good, you know, highlighting the character, and because the back is just very plain, it immediately separates the character from the background, which is nice. And again, for this one as well, these windows, you don't really need them. You have all this light coming from the top there. You have the crystal. There's no need to add in windows to add in more light. I get what you're saying, not so much, frankly. But I think maybe the fix for that could be to just have some bounce lighting here with the same orangey reddish color, just to make it so that you're immediately able to see the fact that the character is looking at the crystals, and the light from the crystal is sort of bouncing on the character. I think that's like a small change that would just get rid of the issue you were just describing, the fact that the crystal kind of looks like it's behind the character maybe. Although I don't really necessarily feel like that myself. All right, so we're gonna move on to the next one. Oh, guess what? There's no more next one. That was the last one. So the final thing we need to do is we need to decide on a winner, and we need to decide on a second place, and we need to decide on third place. Now, I'm gonna take the lead here. Please let me know in the chat what your favorites were. I think I'm gonna sort of do it like I did before, and in the future, my idea is to maybe get an additional judge during these live streams and have two people decide. But yeah, for now it's just gonna, you know, be me deciding on the ones I like best. I'm gonna go, first of all, select like a top 5, 6, 7-ish. I don't have an overview of all of them, Nogi. I just have, I can go buy them one by one. Let's do that, for example. You know, go buy them quickly. So these are all the possible submissions we have to choose from. Put them all in Photoshop like last time. Yeah, it's gonna take ages. I'm gonna put the top 5 into Photoshop. Oh, haha. You don't see anything. Yeah, you see me. Again, my bad. Okay, so we have this one, the first one, Free Dive. We have a Pirate Abduction. We have the Bubble Dancer, Mechs in Maintenance, Monochrome Intrusion, Misguided Atomic, Abandoned Space Station, Secret of the Depths. That's a tongue breaker a little bit. Close to Spaghetti, Lego Spaceman, Neon Genesis Evangelion, Zero Gravity Exploration. I want to say Explosion. Don't know why. Zero Gravity Exploration. You Are Fired. Lone Marauder. Immortal Ruins. Okay. We get it. I don't want to mute you. Don't make me mute you, Green. All right, Immortal Ruins, yep. New Species Discovered. Lost Lab. Optimus Captured. Space Frog. It's Time to Destroy. Oops. Halo. You're in Deep Access File. By the way, this one can't win. Again, just as a reminder. You're in Deep Access File. Houston, we have a problem. It's just a myth, they said. No survivors. Imposter. Not So Dead in the Water. Winnie the Pooh, A Honeyfield Adventure. Christmas Eve. Shuttle KV-3 Distress Call. J1407B. Kill It Now. Overgrown. And Crash Site Crystals. That's all of the submissions. Now, like Nogi said, it's a good thing to sort of take these into Photoshop here, so we're gonna do just that. I'm gonna make a new one. Yep. Let's do it like that. It's fine if KP3D wins 2 in a row. That's no problem. Yeah, Green Stream is spamming. I think they quit now. All right, so I'm gonna go and I'm gonna select the ones I think are some of the best. Let's see how many we're just gonna be left with like after the first pass. So this one I really enjoy. Another one I really enjoy is this one, obviously. I guess you guys already knew that. Okay, I'm gonna give you a timeout, Green. All right, fix that. Sorry, guys. Yep, this one. I'm gonna use this one because I think it's really well lit and the idea is very strong. Absolutely Space Frog. Love Space Frog. Thank you for subbing, Doxy. Yep, absolutely doing this one. Amazing. Haider's getting there as well. Ooh, Imposter. Nah, if the lighting was better on Imposter, I would have put it up there as well. It just needs a little bit better lighting than it would have been like a very good submission. Yep, KV3D, you're getting up there as well. And that's it. Let's see how many we have. 7. Okay. Let's round that off. We're just gonna do one more. Submission and have basically 8. Oh God. We don't care. Yes. Thank you. Yeah, I have no idea why it didn't pop up, Sam. Sometimes the alerts work and other times they don't, and I you know, too much of a boomer to know why. All right, so we have place for one more, guys. Yes, Power Dice. This is from a Discord community server. It's my Discord community server. You can join simply by clicking the link in the video description. Mr. GR, I see a lot of Mr. GR. You're not that far, Pancito. You just need, you know, a little bit better lighting. In my opinion, a little less chromatic aberration, but you're getting close. You're getting close for sure. Mr. GR, Mr. GR. I guess I'm seeing a lot of Mr. GR, so I guess we have to go with that. This one, right? I think, to be fair though, this one, it's pretty cool. Is there one person that keeps saying Mr. GR? Okay, yeah, it is. Okay, wait. Let's go back to it then. How do you feel about this one, guys? I really like this one. So maybe Jabobo. Let's see. Maybe this one. Yeah. I think we either go with Jabobo or we go with this one, because this one was really original. So yeah, you can choose. Let me just pull that real quick for the final submission. Choose now, and we're gonna say Jabobo or JNN. Let's just pull that. Put in your votes now. Gonna give it like a couple minutes. Maybe 2, not too many. So it's either JNN, Monochrome Intrusion, or it's gonna be Secret of the Depths by Jabobo. Okay, it's actually pretty close. Can I say mine? Well, you can always say it, but no, in this case, although it was a great submission, Atomic, you're not part of the final 8. What do you mean, Pancito? I don't understand. All right, 28 votes. Thank you, Bashista. Appreciate it. No, Knuckles, you are not, Knuckles is not in the top 8, sorry. It was a great submission, but it needs just a little bit more work on the skill to get it right. It's 50-50. Ah, come on, guys. I feel like you're now sort of doing it because you can, because there was like a clear lead for Jabobo for a while. Okay, Jabobo. JNN. Put both. I mean, nah. We have to sort of, you know, cut it off somewhere. I get it's hard and harsh sometimes, but you know, it's not the point to win this per se, of course. It's to learn and to grow in your Blender skills. So all of these participants, you know, you've done great, and I'm super happy to see all your hard work for sure. And this is just like a formality, choosing the winner. And if the poll says 3 minutes, I'm gonna call it. So okay, new account, new spam. Abdullah, if you want some attention, you can just ask a regular question. All right, it says 3 min, so we're gonna call quits here. And JNN won that with 51%. So, you know, the power of democracy. We're gonna take that one. And we're gonna put it here. So this is the top 8, and I'm gonna select 3 of these as a winner. So let's just, you know, timeout dodging, is that? Oh yeah, maybe it is. I don't know. Don't really care. Honestly, it's not that big of a problem. I can just time out more accounts if that's necessary. What was painful, Moki? It's just the way things go, you know. It's I think JNN is definitely deserving of a place here as well, because it's just such a unique take as for like all the other submissions, which are very much, you know, realism inspired. So we have Free Dive, Monochrome, Intrusion, You Are Fired, Lost Lab, It's Just a Myth They Said, Space Frog, No Survivors, and Shuttle KV3 Distress Call. I feel, although this one is pretty good, it's really good, it's not one of the top 3 ones. So I'm not gonna do this one. Even though I really like it, it could use just a little bit more to make it that much better. You know, some underwater elements, maybe bubbles as well. Just a few more hints to take it to the top level. All the chaos is on the right side now. Yeah, that's true, but you know, we're just gonna look at them one by one. Do they still read? That's a good question, actually. If we zoom out, which one of these is readable the best? To me, it's this one. I feel like You Are Fired, although it's really nice, if you zoom it out, it becomes a bit washed, because it's just of this sort of glow, bloom. I feel like it's sort of hard to read still. This one, immediately obvious what's going on. Haider Ali, also very readable. KV3D, slightly less. Monochrome Intrusion, slightly less. Lost Lab, readable, although you do lose basically everything besides the character there. Free Dive is pretty decent, and Space Frog is also a little less readable. Aha, okay, so that explains his Haider, and makes sense, because, you know, simulating fire is difficult. I don't really mind it that much. It's just something that a lot of people pointed out. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna cut out 5 one by one. I'm gonna remove Lost Lab just because I feel like overall, if you zoom out, it loses a lot of its detail. And the character could definitely use a few tweaks to make it look better, like the mask or the harness and stuff like that. So we're just gonna cut that one out. Great submission, just not making it to the top 3 this month. I feel similarly about this one, like I just said, so I'm just gonna cut that out. It just needs a few more touches to be top notch. Monochrome intrusion. Yeah, I mean, it's really cool. It's really unique. But could it be even better with better readability? Because if you zoom out, it's becoming messy. And that's the hard thing with like 2 colors. A great example of how to do monochromatic images like Sin City, the movie. And it's just like the perfect way of having everything be in black and white, but still having everything be very readable. You're probably better off with having less light on these walls here. For that reason, again, I have to cut out some, so I'm gonna cut out the monochrome intrusion. And then we're left with 5. Oh, I mean, that's really good, JNN. You could definitely, you know, it's really brave to try black and white because it's notoriously hard to do. And the fact that you added in the colors is just a really good idea. But, you know, having the image be as readable as possible is just important to get it to a 10 out of 10 level. Thank you for subscribing, Kumar. Welcome. So this is what we have left now. And I'm curious to hear. Do you think, like, this one is for me, this one's going to be in the top 3 for sure. In my opinion, it should be number 1, but it's probably going to be in the top 3 for sure. So I'm going to take that one. With Space Frog, I feel like it could be a top 3 one. I think the take is very unique. This one is really cool, well executed, cool idea. Haider's is just as always really good. Good color, good composition. I agree on the fire being blurry. And we have Keifi's, which is also really good. Good use of color. I mean, I get what you're saying, JNN, but then again, the default body, because they sort of adapted it, it also just adds to it, in my opinion. But we have to make choices. We have to make choices, guys. All right, so let's look at it very, very critically. This one sort of ticks all the boxes, right? Textures are good. Story is good. Colors are good. The only thing that it got against it is basically this sort of hazy glow that it's got going on. This one has a very unique story, great lighting, and it's a very fun take. But then again, maybe that's all that it's got going for it. The rest of the image is rather simple compared to the other ones. Then we have Haider, and Haider has amazing models going on, great lighting and compositing. But the blurry fire is, you know, to me, it feels like it is what it is. I understand where it's coming from, and it doesn't distract that much from the image for me. And then we have KV3D. Now, I feel honestly, and that's not to be too rash, but if we're looking at like how these images are composited, I feel like this could maybe use a little bit of work where, for example, oh, are we freezing? What's going on? Hello? Did I do something weird? Uh-oh. Nah, I guess. I guess I messed it up. All right, so we're going back to this one. Yeah, so this one's got a lot going for it. This one has got a lot going for it. And then we have Haider's here. I think Haider's is amazing. And honestly, I feel like it's better than KV's in this case. Sorry to be harsh. So what I'm gonna do, guys, is the top 3. I'm just gonna call it here because I have to go as well. The top 3 is going to be number 1, because I just feel it's by far the best image in there. It's just very readable. Even with very limited elements, it's the best one in my opinion. So number 1 for me is going to be Brachii with It's Just a Myth, They Said. Now for second place, I'm going to go with... There he is. L42W, because I just love the story that's going on here. It just spoke to me immediately. It's one of the reasons I took it as the thumbnail for the stream announcement. Yeah, it's just a great piece. And finally, third place, I'm going to give to Mr. Haider Ali. Just because I feel like, you know, from a lighting compositing perspective, which was like the main challenge for this stream, was to do lighting, compositing, and stuff like that, textures. And it's just really good in that department. So that's what matters. So that's place 3. So that means we now have Brachii number 1, we have L42W as number 2, and we have Haider Ali as number 3. Sorry to the other people who missed out. As always, it's incredibly hard to decide on the top 3 for these types of challenges. And again, I'm happy that it's hard, because that goes to show that you guys created some amazing artworks, and the harder it is for me, the better that means you guys performed. So congratulations to the winners in this case. I'll reach out again to everybody and have all the prizes sorted with them as soon as possible. It's probably going to be this weekend somewhere. We'll have to see. But thank you so much, guys, for submitting to all of this. Thank you, Mason, for subscribing. And yeah, I hope you participate in the next challenge. Again, it's really fun to see what you guys are doing. And what I find really important, and is something that I'm noting for the future, is that I see growth. And that's absolutely something I'm seeing. I'm seeing people who participate in multiple of these challenges get better and better at Blender, which is, it's just so cool to see. So thank you all so much for the time you put in. You know, I hope to see you all on the next live stream. Oh, there's a new Punisher challenge starting. Okay, that's cool. Yeah, I'm not doing a chicken dance. No chicken dances. You asked that before. No chicken dances. Starlight, thank you for subscribing. All right, guys. I hope you enjoyed the live stream. I hope it was useful again. And I hope you take all of this knowledge and use it to make even better artworks for the next one. Thank you so much. Have a great weekend. And I see you in the next one. Peace. Bye-bye.